7, Governor Ayedatiwa pledges mobilization of Ondo students for Nigerian Education Loan Fund. Court bars Rivers Chief Judge from acting on Assembly's impeachment directive. DSS operatives rescue abducted Niger state pastors. And from the foreign scene, opposition supporters die in election clashes as Uganda president leads poll. Good evening and thank you very much for joining us tonight on the news on Osrc television. My name is Oyewumi Ayinigara. Ondo State's Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has expressed support for the Nigerian Education Loan Fund (NELFund) initiative with a promise that its administration will mobilize students across the state to take advantage of the interest-free loan scheme. Governor Ayedatiwa gave the assurance in Akure while receiving the management of NELFund as the agency commenced its first southwest visit of the year in the state. Ayedatiwa, who described the visit as timely and symbolic, thanked the NELFund team for choosing the state as the first port of call in the zone, commended President Bola Tinubu for initiating the scheme. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole completes the story.
The delegation of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund initiative was led to the governor's office in Akure by its managing director and chief executive officer, Mr. Akitunde Sawyer. The team was in the governor's office to meet minds with Governor Ayedatiwa on how to make students from the state benefit more from the loan scheme initiative. The managing director, Mr. Sawyer, said the visit was anchored on the vision of President Bola Tinubu, who signed the Nigerian Education Loan Fund into law on April 4, 2025. He explained that the scheme was designed to provide interest-free loans to young Nigerians in response to the country's large youth population and low access to tertiary education. Sawyer said applications were made online without the need for personal connections, adding that institutional fees were paid directly to schools, while beneficiaries also received stipends.
They don't need to know me, they don't need to know any of the directors. They go online, they provide us with certain pieces of information. We assess that at our office. We check that they're eligible. If they're eligible, we approve the loans. They can approve for institutional charges, institutional fees. If we approve that, the fees go direct to the institutions. So we decided to pick up the baton, having appointed us to go and implement this, and begin to tell Nigerians, parents, that soccer is now here. They don't have to struggle as much to look for fees for their children.
Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, who commended President Bola Tinubu for initiating the scheme, described it a historic intervention and first of its kind in the country. Ayedatiwa said the initiative complemented existing bursaries and scholarships by providing an additional platform for students to finance their education. According to him, bursaries and scholarships are free grants that require no repayment, as the loan scheme addresses extra fees and financial gaps, ensuring that no Nigerian youth is denied access to university education due to poverty or lack of support.
The one we are giving bursary and other financial support, they are free gift. They don't need to pay back. They have that. They have a opportunity of having extra in case that is not enough. So there won't be any excuse whatsoever to anyone in Nigeria not to be able to have a university degree. You cannot say because my mother is poor, my father is poor, I have nobody to help me. The government has made that platform available for all to have opportunity of obtaining the university degree through this platform. So we must thank Mr. President for this great initiative.
The governor congratulated the managing director on his appointment and commended the management team for his commitment to driving the initiative. He expressed confidence that many youths will benefit from the scheme if awareness is adequately expanded. Ayedatiwa said the loan scheme is primarily designed for students in public institutions, adding that those in private universities are less likely to require such support.
But it's for all. You don't need Godfather to access it. I believe that is the way the program is operating. If that is the way it is, then they have no excuse. We just need to educate them, to create that awareness, which I want to assure you that we will do here in the state. I must say this is a very, very good initiative, and once again, thank you for coming. For us, we encourage people, especially the indigent students, that this opportunity is available. They should access it for their own and for the good that their parents can free other money for other things, while it also make them more responsible, knowing that as I'm schooling, I'm sponsoring myself because it's like a future a debt that I have to pay in future. So it makes me more responsible that I have this that I have to repay.
The governor also recommended campus-based engagements to address misconceptions, repayment concerns, and limited understanding of the scheme among students at different levels of study. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Lucky Aiyedatiwa has extended congratulations to elder statesman and former Osrc State Governor Bisi Akande as it marks his 87th birthday. Aiyedatiwa described Akande a leader, father and friend of Ondo State whose sincerity of purpose, personal sacrifices and remarkable accomplishment in both private and public life have etched his name in history. The governor noted that Akande's life journey has been a source of inspiration to many, highlighting his tenure as governor of Osrc State, where he was known for astute administration and visionary leadership. He prays for more years of good health for the octogenarian and continued contributions to national development. Members of Rivers State House of Assembly of Ijo Extraction have called on the Speaker, Martin Amerwule, to reopen the chambers to allow lawmakers resume impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Ngozi Odu. The call followed a shift in position by 4 lawmakers who had earlier canvassed a political resolution to the protracted crisis in the state, but have now pulled out and rejoined the impeachment process. The lawmakers met at the conference hall within the residential quarters, where they renewed demands for the continuation of the impeachment exercise. They asked the Chief Judge of the state, Samuel Chibuzo Amadi, to set up a panel to investigate the gross misconduct allegations against Governor Fubara and his deputy, Ngozi Odu.
Allegations of gross misconduct brought pursuant to Section 188 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended 1999, and this particular letter was signed by 26 members of the Rivers State Assembly, with the majority leader has read their names. Distinguished colleagues, I am now in receipt of this letter, and pursuant to sections of the 1999 Constitution is amended, I will ensure that this letter is forwarded to His Excellencies Siminalayi Fubara, GSSRS, Governor of Rivers State, within 7 days. Distinguished colleagues, I will do that. Rest assured, I will not renege. I will do my job in line with the Constitution. Thank you.
Meanwhile, a Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has barred the Chief Judge of the state, Justice Chibuzo Amadi, from receiving an action on any correspondence from the Rivers State House of Assembly relating to moves to impeach Governor Fubara and his deputy. The order was issued by the High Court of Oyibo Local Government Area sitting in Port Harcourt following 2 separate suits filed by Governor Fubara and his deputy. In the interim orders of injunction, the court restrained the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Amerwule, and 32 others, including the Clerk of the House and the Chief Judge, from taking any steps towards the impeachment process. Specifically, the court barred Justice Amadi from receiving, forwarding, considering or acting on any request, resolution, articles of impeachment, or any form of communication from the first to 27th defendant for the purpose of constituting a panel to investigate the alleged misconduct against the governor and his deputy for a period of 7 days. The presiding judge, Justice Florence Fiberosima, who gave the ruling, also granted the directed and the interim orders and originating processes were served on the 32 defendants, the Chief Judge of Rivers State, through any staff member of the judiciary at the Chief Judge's chamber within the High Court premises. The matter was thereafter adjourned to January 23, 2026 for the hearing of the motion on notice. The Ondo Amotekun Corps has intensified operations following the discovery of 42 people hidden in a bitumen truck in Akure. Contrary to news during the rounds, the individuals were not bandits, but their presence raised serious security concerns. Amotekun Corps Commander Adetunji Adeleye spoke at a press briefing in Akure, where 32 suspect links to various crimes across the state were paraded. Osrc's Abidemi Akeritoye reports.
The Ondo State Amotekun Corps continues its fight against crime, parading 32 suspects for offences including disobeying orders, farmers' elder clashes, and kidnapping. Speaking during the parade at the Corps headquarters in Akure, State Commander Adetunji Adeleye disclosed that kidnapping cases are on the rise in the Akungba Akoko area and that investigations are ongoing.
A number of kidnap cases around Akungba Akoko, so we set out our tentacles, and at the point of exchange, what they thought was supposed to be a ransom, we were able to apprehend Pius and John, aged 23 and 35, who were supposed to collect the ransom.
He added that 4 suspects for related offense have been arrested in Ileoluji, Odigbo, and Ondo town. Through intelligence-led operations and surveillance, the Corps made significant breakthroughs, apprehending suspects and rescuing victims.
One of them had actually been arrested before for kidnap-related cases, but he escaped from lawful custody and was rearrested in Aki camp, where the kidnap actually took place. We were able to rescue them, rescue the victims, and arrest them.
Adeleye also highlighted the capture of 4 individuals for conspiracy, theft, and anti-grazing activities in Benin Akure Garage, the Reserve Forest, and Ifon. Among the suspects are 2 persons arrested for attempting to kill their Fulani employer in Idoani.
Influx of young unemployed men from the upper parts, and we have been doing all that we can in collaboration with other security agencies to turn some of them that do not have good reasons for coming into the state back to their state.
The Amotekun commander emphasized that recent coordinated operations by the Joint Task Force will continue to help reduce criminal activities across the 18 local government areas.
I saw a social media clip where they were shouting bandits had entered Akure. Bandits did not enter Akure. 42 people were found hidden inside bitumen truck with bitumen in it, and we had commenced investigations and profiling of these men.
Adeleye reiterated the court's steadfast dedication to protecting lives and property, assuring residents that Ondo State remains safe for business and social activities. While the 32 suspects were paraded, investigations continue into the 42 individuals found hidden in the bitumen truck, though not bandits, but their movements will be thoroughly looked into for security reasons. Abidemi Akinrotoye, Osrc News.
The federal government has lauded the European Union's removal of Nigerians from the high-risk and terrorism financing list, described the development a major boost to the country's global financial credibility. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, attributed the action to the leadership of President Bola Tinubu. Edun said the development would ease and enhance due diligence requirements for Nigerian individuals, businesses and financial institutions dealing with European counterparts. The European Commission, in its assessment, concluded that Nigeria has strengthened the effectiveness of its anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism regime and addressed identified technical and strategic gaps, leading to its removal from the EU high-risk list. You're still watching Osrc News, and after the break, DSS operatives rescues abducted Niger State pastors. Do rejoin us for this and more.
Go.
You are welcome back. You can watch us live on our digital channel Moriplex 720 on our website. You can watch us at www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Operatives of the Department of State Services DSS in Niger State have rescued 2 pastors and a church member abducted by armed bandits in Kaduna State. The victims, Idi Buhari, Emmanuel Jacob, and Suleiman Adamu, were kidnapped on January 9 at the Wagwada area of Chinko local government area while traveling through Kugosi to Sankim Power in Niger State to officiate a wedding ceremony. Receiving the rescued pastors in Kaduna, the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory, Reverend John Joseph Ayab, said the pastors were safely rescued from the bush by DSS operatives during ongoing security operations in Niger State. He commended the operatives for what he described a courageous and timely operation. Family, friends, and members of the academia have gathered to honor the memory of a former Deputy Registrar of Federal University of Technology, Akure Futa, late Dr. Amos Arijesuyo. Blessing Obe reports that scholarships were awarded to 20 indigent students by the Amos Emiloju Arijesuyo Legacy Foundation in collaboration with the Guidance and Counseling Unit of the Student Affairs Division, FUTA, to mark the 5th edition of his memorial lecture. The reports.
It's the 5th edition of Dr. Amos Emiloju Arijesuyo Memorial Lecture, held in honor of the late scholar and former Deputy Registrar of Federal University of Technology, Akure Futa. The lecture aims to preserve the dedication of a man whose efforts laid the foundation for counseling services in the institution. Chairman on the occasion and Vice-Chancellor of Futa, Professor Adenike Oladiji, represented by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Development, Professor Sunday Oluyamo, commended the family for sustaining Dr. Arijesuyo's legacy and contributing meaningfully to the university.
We are solaced by the good works and the pleasant memories that he left behind from the life of the late Dr. Arijesuyo, We can see the significance of commitment to calling, integrity, and love. Hence, we are here today to reaffirm our commitment to the values he embodied.
This year's lecture took a different dimension with a panel session centered on the theme Beyond Grades, Employability, Building Resilience and Becoming Future Ready. The panelists emphasized the need for students to acquire practical skills and adapt to evolving technology beyond classroom learning.
It is important that we prepare our graduates, not just to talk about graduating with first class, 2-1, without having application of knowledge. And that is why it is important to stress that it requires certificates to get job, but you need beyond certificate to sustain the job. That's character. That's where you need resilience. That's where you need humanity to keep the job.
The memorial lecture featured the presentation of scholarships to students to support their academic pursuits. Some of the beneficiaries expressed gratitude for the support, noting that it will aid their studies.
I'm very happy to be one of the beneficiaries of this scholarship. It was actually a surprise. I just got the call yesterday that I've been considered for the scholarship. So it came at a very good time, at a very crucial time where I have financial needs, and these are really blessed. I'm very grateful.
I feel so good, I feel blessed, and I feel happy, and I'm grateful to God for this scholarship, and I'm grateful for the people that give it. It really helped in some of the payment I want to make.
The eldest son of the late scholar Biodun Arijesuyo explained the vision behind the foundation.
He was mainly into youth development and human capital development. He was a teacher, he was an academic, a counselor, and he was also a pastor. So basically people focused, and we thought what we could do to sustain his legacy is to find those things he lived for and continue.
The memorial lecture not only celebrates the life of Dr. Amos Arijesuyo, but also reinforces the importance of service and academic excellence in shaping future leaders. Blessing Obi, Osrc News.
At least several Ugandan opposition supporters have been killed in disputed circumstances as President Yoweri Museveni takes a strong lead in results from the country's presidential election. The opposition say they were attacked by security forces in the home of a legislator in Butambala, about 55 kilometers southwest of the capital, Kampala, while police blame the violence on the opposition. Electoral figures so far put Museveni in front with 75% of the vote and his main rival Bobi Wine on 21% based on returns from 60% of polling stations. Wine's home in Kampala has been surrounded by security forces, effectively placing him and his wife under house arrest. Local journalists say security forces have blocked them from accessing the opposition leader's home in Kampala. Still on the foreign scene, Syrian officials say thousands of civilians are still trying to flee the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces strongholds of Deir Alpha and Maskana east of Aleppo. There is a tense standoff in the contested areas after the Syrian army boosted its presence there. The military has set up a humanitarian corridor to get civilians out, but the Syrian Democratic Forces has now set up checkpoints and is turning people back. Jimmy Otterbold tells more.
Escaping the heart of a military operation, the center of what may become the next battleground between the Syrian military and the Kurdish Syrian Democratic Forces, the relative safety of the village on the edge of the Alpha is a chance to take a breath and take stock. They carry only what they can: mattresses stacked on trucks, clothes tied in blankets, sacks of food, babies in their arms, and stories of shelling, gunfire, and people left behind. They talk of sleepless nights and frayed nerves.
In the last 10 years, we've been displaced 10 times. We cannot understand it. There is a conflict between militaries and us civilians are affected the most. Isn't that true?
People say they had to smuggle themselves past SDF checkpoints and out of the conflict zone. Ordinary Syrians once again caught in extraordinary circumstance. Most of them here say the same thing. The best outcome for everyone will be stopping another battle before it begins.
We hope it will be fine and we'll have victory. We don't want anyone to be harmed, not us, not them. We hope nothing will happen.
Homida is 10 years old and she says she hasn't been able to go to school since the fighting started. She says they brought clothes and the important thing, but she had to leave her toys behind. Children too young to realize they have been pushed into the spotlight of a conflict the world is watching. A battle yet to happen, but one that could shape the fate of a nation. As the day draws to a close, families wait hoping to spot relatives still trying to escape. With a heavy military build-up nearby, there is a growing sense of urgency that people must get out while they still can. Autobots Jim, Osrc News.
And now, with that report from Jim Autobot, we conclude the news tonight. But before we go, a quick look at the top stories. We told you that Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has expressed support for the Nigerian Education Loan Fund initiative, pledging that his administration will mobilize students across the state to take full advantage of the interest-free loan. A Rivers State High Court seated in Port Harcourt has barred the Chief Judge, Chibuzo Amadi, from acting on any correspondence from the State House of Assembly relating to Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy's impeachment. Operatives of the Department of State Services DSS in Niger State have rescued 2 pastors abducted by bandits in Kaduna State. And from the foreign scene comes the reports that 7 opposition supporters in Uganda have been killed by the police as President Yoweri Museveni leads presidential election. And that's the news tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Good evening.